A defining feature of our world is life itself. Based on current knowledge, Earth is the only planet with those conditions. Despite the destruction of the environment, life still exists everywhere in the world. Even in the harshest places we can imagine. But why did things happen this way? Where and how did life on Earth begin? What event led to the emergence of animals, plants, and humans? Actually, uncovering the origins of life on Earth is far more challenging than filling in the gaps of world history. This question also raises broader issues. Is life on other planets truly that rare? What is the probability of life forming on any given planet? T pieced together all the fragments to fully understand the story of life. But what we already know is enough to see that this story is of an immense scale. And it also leads us on a journey of discovery back to Earth's primordial beginnings. Everything begins with water. So, where does the water on Earth come from? Here are two natural English translations of the given Vietnamese text. Because it is the only thing on Earth that every living being needs. Different life forms can survive on entirely distinct food sources. But no living creature can survive without water. Water has been present on Earth for billions of years. And this is also the key factor that sustains life on Earth. Sunlight is not only a renewable energy source but also an essential ingredient for the life of organisms. Water also creates an ideal living environment for countless species. As strange that scientists still can surface due to the planet and lay the first essential foundation for life. The issue is that the Earth in its early formation period was extremely hot. Therefore, the amount of water covering the planet's surface initially would completely evaporate. Lydia Hallis is a planetary scientist currently working at the University of Glasgow. Noam Hassenfeld from Unexplained said, "So how can you accumulate too much cholesterol in your body on the surface of a planet that should have been scorching hot?" The scientists likely considered several plausible hypotheses. Could the water on Earth have originated from icy stars colliding with our planet? Is it even stranger that the existence of water on Earth was merely a random coincidence in the universe? Or could it be that water was hidden deep within the Earth from the very beginning? During its formation, Earth likely underwent many complex stages of transformation. Includes the rock formation period and the flooding period, when tiny dust particles in the giant gas cloud combine to form a planet. A small amount of water also exists in the atmosphere. When Earth first formed, its surface was a sea of molten rock, completely devoid of water. As the Earth's internal temperature decreases, the underground liquids gradually condense and form the first oceans on Earth. About 3.8 billion years ago, the first ocean on Earth began to form. And so begins a complex water cycle on the planet. So, how did life originate on this water-covered planet? Where there is water, life may also arise. Therefore, the possibility that life did not originate on Earth cannot be ruled out. But if scientists express skepticism about that, it's perfectly understandable. One hypothesis suggests that the first microorganisms appeared on Earth through a process called biochemistry. Muscle formation is also known as chemical self-synthesis. In a water-rich environment, chemical elements and compounds such as water, the bondiosid and ammonia reacted with each other under the influence of solar energy, produce simple molecules such as amino acids, nucleotides, and fatty acids. These simple molecules then combine to form proteins. The first single-celled organisms formed from nucleic acids and lipids. These creatures have the ability to produce their own food by utilizing energy from sunlight, and become a source of nourishment for other organisms in the future. This process occurred over an extremely long period and is referred to by scientists as the Precambrian era. However, these first microorganisms were not truly considered life in the strictest sense of the word, because they lack moving parts, organs, or complex structures like higher organisms. However, they paved the way for the development and emergence of living organisms on Earth. For decades, scientists have been striving to recreate the conditions of early Earth, when the planet was a primordial ocean, in the laboratory. The idea here is if they could recreate the conditions of early Earth, perhaps in the end, they will create something resembling the first simple cells that appeared on Earth billions of years ago. From there, they could piece together a story about the origin of life on Earth. This career guidance initiative has achieved remarkable success. In the 1950s, two scientists, Harold Urey and Stanley Miller, demonstrated that amino acids could be synthesized from simple inorganic compounds. Since then, scientists have been able to create lipid droplets with a structure closely resembling cell membranes. And they created RNA molecules with a structure similar to DNA but simpler. However, scientists have not yet been able to synthesize all the components that make up life in the laboratory and combine them into a simple cell. So what's stopping us? What if scientists actually succeed in creating life in the lab? They can not only uncover the story of life's origins on Earth but also draw a shocking conclusion about the prevalence of life in the universe. And the final question, the eternal mystery: what is life? However life may have originated, today we see it present everywhere on Earth. We recognize life when we witness it. Yet, do we truly understand what the essence of life is? The answer is no. So far, no one has been able to define what life is, and some even claim that it is impossible. The definition of life remains a major unanswered question and is still being actively researched by the scientific community. Although many definitions of life have existed, to this day there is still no widely or universally accepted concept. Partly because life itself is an extremely complex and diverse system, with countless different characteristics inherent to it. For example, the ability to self-organize, interact with the environment, reproduce, distribute unevenly, develop heterogeneously, along with many other characteristics. Therefore, defining life remains a significant challenge for the scientific community. However, scientists continue to research tirelessly to explore and define the precise concept of life. Research in the fields of biology, chemistry, physics, and computer science is collectively contributing to unraveling the nature of life and its related properties. What is life? The human brain is uniquely wired to recognize biological motion. We already have the hardware to detect life. But that doesn't mean we can comprehend its true nature. Every time scientists come up with a definition of life, they can find an exception that makes that definition no longer hold true. For example, NASA defines life as follows. Life is a chemical system capable of self-sustenance and evolution according to the Darkwing theory. However, this definition does not include viruses because they cannot sustain life on their own and must rely on a host to survive and reproduce. On one hand, clearly defining the concept of life will greatly aid in the search for signs of organisms on other planets and satellites. But on the other hand, how can we be certain that we have detected life? Perhaps we cannot yet define life, at least with our current understanding.